Alright, hi everyone, Big Thinny Feet Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Nas album, King's Disease 2. This is a new LP from legendary Queens, New York rapper Nas, coming back a quick year after the release of the Grammy-winning King's Disease, a momentous moment in Nas's catalog, not just because of the great Hit Boy production on every single track, but the history and sage-like perspective he was able to lace into much of this record too. It's a good project, but I was kind of skeptical seeing we were going to get a sequel in such a short amount of time. Would King's Disease 2 just be more of the same, leftovers, or something like that? But actually, King's Disease 2 is really its own animal, or maybe even the other side of the same coin. As lyrically here, Nas is addressing a lot of the same themes, be it personal and hip-hop history, his luxurious lifestyle, some social commentary as well. There's a lot of bases getting touched here, but the attitude and the delivery this time around is a lot meaner and more direct. Because I think King's Disease 2, more than King's Disease 1, is about showing the voice, the flow, the lyrical artistry, and competitive spirit that made Nas a rap legend to begin with. Here, King's Disease 1 is kind of like the ice, and King's Disease 2 is the fire. And yes, we have another full run of Hit Boy production on this record too. The dreamy opener, Pressure, describes a lot of what's motivating the creative process behind this record, Nas describing the weight of the world on his shoulders, the need to inspire them again, and cynically you could see this as Nas, I don't know, showing his God complex a little bit. Is the world really on his shoulders, even in a figurative sense? No, and of course Nas is a flawed human being like the rest of us, but as a master of his craft and a leader in hip-hop, that's where his words are going to resonate the deepest, and he's definitely earned that mic and that podium. And I say podium very purposefully because Nas also isn't just here to spit, but at least, in his own explanation here, to bestow perspective. For example, the track Death Row East is a history lesson, a trip down memory lane during a pivotal moment for rap music. Nas essentially reminiscing about a time when Death Row Records was flirting with the idea of building out an East Coast branch. And Death Row was a massive cultural force at the time. If this had gone through, it would have changed everything, but the death of Tupac and the crumbling of the label obviously forced things into a different direction, and Nas is essentially explaining his own proximity to all of this and just kind of telling it through his own eyes. On the following 40 side, we have things shifting to current day, at least sonically. Hit Boy brings a smooth and moody trap beat on this one, and Nas is just casually sounding amazing on it. Aesthetically, this instrumental hits upon a pretty trendy sound right now. It's the type of vibe that you could see Drake rapping over, but you can't deny that Nas really does his own thing with it. Then we have the explosive EPMD 2, a new version of a song that was originally on the Judas and the Black Messiah soundtrack. On this latest edition, we have new bars from Nas, an EPMD feature, even an Eminem feature on the back end where he goes at length with a nasty beat switch. Normally I'd be against an artist of Nas's caliber recycling a song like this for a core record, but he really beefed up this new version. PMD and Eric Sermon in their sections of the track still have godlike chemistry, and the rap god didn't really get on my nerves in the ways that he typically does, save for a couple of bars, bucks flying when I make it rain, deer. Again, Shady's flow switch on the back end of the track with that beat switch was absolutely sick and dizzying, and again, I love that Nas and Hit Boy renovated this song and made it exciting to listen to again. Then the track Rare was another highlight for me. I love the warmth coming off this beat, the nostalgia. Nas's lyrics and delivery sounds like he's soaring through space, just high off his own success. It's blissful, it's okay, but it turns out this section of the track is just a warm-up for what's to come. In the second half of the track, we get a cipher-worthy beat switch, a more intense flow from Nas, and from there's so many sharp bars and even song ideas flying at me at 1,000,000 miles an hour. This gangsta shit refrain that he harps on toward the very end of the track, that could be a hook for an entirely different song in and of itself. I love that Nas and Hit Boy on this record are digging out so much gold, they're just looking for songs and passages to just throw it in. YKTV, or You Know the Vibe, was a track I was a little skeptical about given just how modern the production is, and on the features we have a Boogie with the Hoodie and YG, which, like, those names plus Nas, just in concept, doesn't necessarily come off as like complimentary vibes. But oddly enough, this track is still a banger, and lyrically there's a point where Nas even, I guess, acknowledges this clashing of worlds and aesthetics here, mentioning Uzi over a Primo beat and NAS over a Migo beat. Overall, Nas's performance on this track is pretty cold-blooded, much like in a lot of other pockets here. It's highly enjoyable. Boogie is providing a really smooth melodic midpoint for the track, and YG comes off a little more animated than usual. I love this drop a car note on your head, act stupid with it line and delivery that he has going on, where he's really just like messing with his inflections in a crazy way. Store Run is another retrospective moment on this LP where Nas is going into the past, the present, the past, the present. Against fat kicks and classy soul samples, he's rapping about his era, his pedigree, the luxury that has come with his success, and how that contrasts from the shootouts and razor blades that paint his past. Nobody with Lauryn Hill is a different reflection on fame on this record, as with this track, Nas seeks to escape from it, looking for a place where he can kind of be a nobody. On Nas's part, lyrically, the track is cleverly written, it's focused, and I love that Lauryn Hill is not only sounding great too, but she is backing up the themes and just the basic vibe of this track too, with her own feelings on fame and her perception within the public eye. And given her elusive past, I think she's like the perfect addition for this kind of track. We continue on this more introspective and sensitive kick with the song No Phony Love, featuring Charlie Wilson. Now, at this point in his career, Nas is no stranger to making songs about the highs and lows of love, but I have to say, I think this is one of his best so far. Not just because of the perfect instrumental setting, I'm loving the romantic R&B loops worked into this beat on this one from Hit Boy, but Charlie Wilson's vocals are fantastic and a necessary touch. Plus, I like the tone of Nas's lyrics quite a bit on this one too. With one bar after another, Nas hits us with these potent jabs of lust, insecurity, fear, and infatuation. I mean, everything that love can entail. No phony love, if only love. Whew. So good. Brunch on Sundays is maybe my least favorite cut off of the record, mostly because of the weak hook. Some of the bars from Nas unfortunately warrant a bit of an eye roll. The Sunday Fun Day hashtag line I thought was a little under his, I guess, ability. But given the general themes of the record, the Sunday to Sunday line as well, I get the celebratory tone of the track. I get why Nas would want to switch up to that at this point on the record. I just don't think it's one of his best songs here. Count Me In, I thought, was a bit of a mild one in the track list. I'm feeling Nas's lyrics a lot more than I am the production, which is very low-key, or the spaced-out chorus that I don't think has a lot of punch to it. Hit Boy helps himself to a featured verse on the front end of the song Composure, with a sort of Currency-type flow on this one. Hit Boy's feature is fine. Nas on the track is fine as well, but I feel like this song's theme, Composure, being able to handle yourself, is already a pretty consistent theme throughout this LP, and I don't think the song scratches into the idea any more deeply than much of the other material here. I think the spoken word outro actually brings the message home better than much of the rapping on the track. The following My Bible was another highlight in the track list for me. I will say that the gender politics on this one are a little dated, but the instrumental on this one is great. It's super classy. I think Nas's conceptual structuring of this track is great too, and his biblical portrayals of men and women, I think, are more well-intentioned than some artists have been who have done something similar in the past. We then have the assuring closer, Nas is Good, which doesn't necessarily bring anything to a head or put a stamp on much of anything, but I do think it ends the whole King's Disease series on a positive note, showing Nas is kind of proving his worth here, just depicting himself in a good place. And I suppose this is where he's going to leave us, unless him and Hit Boy decide to treat us to a third King's Disease, which, given the quality of this, I wouldn't necessarily mind. But yeah, King's Disease 2 I thought was a really quality record. A lot of great, thoughtful tracks from Nas, fantastic production from Hit Boy. I think they went a little bit harder than they did on the original King's Disease, and the results show it. And I think we can leave it there. I'm feeling a light to decent 8 on this one. Transition. Have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe. Please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Nas, King's Disease 2, Forever.